Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now Half-Life 2 is officially 20 years old, and basically from now until the 18th of November at 6 PM UK time it's free on Steam, and it comes with a few updates as well. I'm just going to read through a few of them now just so you know what you're getting, but I definitely recommend, I was going to say purchase, but not really purchasing it. I would recommend claiming this game if you haven't played it before, even if you have, because it's well worth it even in 2024. So we've now got Half-Life 2 with episodes 1 and 2 included, and the Lost Coast tech demo, which basically showcases the high dynamic range rendering. It looks absolutely fantastic, as you can see from this footage. Now what really drew me into Half-Life 2 for the first time, I only played it about 5 or 6 years ago, was the engine itself, the source engine, and the physics within it. Graphically, it was way ahead of its time in 2004, but not just that, the way that the world worked and the way that you could interact with things as well. Even now, just messing around with the physics and the AI in the game is just incredibly fun and makes it all the more worth playing in 2024 in my opinion. So we've also got integrated Steam Workshop support now, new graphics options and bug fixes. We also get a classic graphical mode as well. Reminds me of the GTA trilogy, which just got that, but in this case it's classic effects. So we've got some effects that were originally in the game and can be re-enabled from the settings menu. There's a whole list of changed stuff as well on Steam. You may be able to see some of it here, but there's fixed missing grass detail, bicubic filtering, for example. Some of this stuff just goes way over my head, to be honest, but yeah, I also noticed that the anti-aliasing option was set to 4 times MSAA by default, and you might think that sounds pretty demanding, but I actually fired this up this morning on my low end but new GTX 1630, which is sort of a more modern equivalent of a GTX 1050 Ti in terms of performance, and I was able to run it with basically maxed out settings at well over 200 FPS depending on the level, and as you can see here I think it still looks really good. The texture work, the facial animations, everything still looks pretty sharp, and for a game that released in 2004, well, it's still blowing my mind now in a way. So if I'd have played it back then, who knows what I would have thought. Of course it's probably going to run fine on, if you're watching this video basically on a PC, then that PC is probably going to run Half-Life 2. That's probably the best way I can describe how easy it is to run these days, but I'd recommend looking through the patch notes as well on Steam. There's a new documentary too. This video is probably all over the place, but I'm just excited to bring you this news in today's one, and I wanted to get it out while it's still pretty early in the weekend so that you can claim the game between now and 6 PM on the 18th. It's the Lost Coast demo that I've played probably more of in the last few years, simply to showcase older hardware and see how well it runs it, because it can still be quite demanding. It's a little more demanding even for the GTX 1630 here. We're getting less frames per second, but just messing around with this level, messing around with the physics, the gravity gun for example here, and just basically blowing the boats up in the water goes to show how well this still holds up physics wise, and how good it still does look. Across all the levels, to be fair, it's an old game, but it's still a very good looking one. And not only that, but it's an FPS title with a decent story as well, and that's something that seems a bit more sparse these days too. So if you don't mind playing something older, you want a story to enjoy over the weekend, then claim it now while it costs nothing, and even when the price does go back up to above nothing, I'm sure it won't be very expensive. So I'll keep this video up after that date because there have been a few updates as well. And yeah, Half-Life 2 free till 18th of November, 6 PM UK time, with new 20th anniversary updates. I'll leave a link to the Steam page. Thanks for watching. If you have a PC that switches on and works, you can probably run this fairly well. So yeah, enjoy the game, and I'll see you next time.